here again with you know who. She's back again, and this time she calls her form of torture yoga. Yeah, yoga. I love yoga though. So we're gonna have a really good time. We're gonna stretch out some stuff. They talked about stretching out our hips, and I could use my hips stretched out. Yeah, I hope I can do better than that at the end of the show. They also talk about stretching out your heart. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that's about, but I'm sure that our, don't you call the yoga instructor a yogi? I'm sure the yogi bear? No, I'm sure the yogi is going to tell us the benefits of stretching out your heart. I'm sure there's some benefits to it. And another thing I wanted to tell you or share with you guys is that we're all drinking alkaline water now. You should get on with that too. Yeah, alkaline water. So, without any further ado, I'm going to bring on that chick that y'all love, because last time she was spinning and flipping around on the pole and stuff, and y'all been watching that show like crazy. So I'm going to bring little Miss Innocent in, Miss Iris Berry. Come on in, girl. Hey.
How are you today?
I'm probably still sore from the last show.
No, I love these shows.
I do love them, but I do be a little sore at the end. Yeah.
Well, as X has already said, my name is Iris Berry, and I'm your co-host for Alternative/Fun Fitness Tuesdays. Yay!
That's why there's a slash. Alternative/fun. You know, you put a circle around and the fun. No, it is fun. It is fun.
Yeah. So the topic I chose today was yoga because it's something near and dear to my heart. Wellness is really my focus. Fitness is not, but I try to choose activities I like and that keeps me balanced. So yoga for me is one of those holistic sports that is mind, body, and spirit. So you can't go wrong. My guest today is a yoga instructor. Quite amazing if I do say so myself. So I'm going to let her talk more about herself when we bring her in, but some of the things that we're going to go over today are just an introduction. So if you've never done yoga, we'll give you a feel for what it looks like. We're going to do, as X says, some hip openers. We're going to do some heart openers, and we'll explain to you, excuse me, Stacey will explain to you, give you more details as we go along. So you'll be able to have a good understanding of what yoga is, how to perform some of the different poses. Most people try to associate yoga with stretching, but it's not simply a form of stretching. It is actually strength, flexibility, and endurance. Your breath is very, very important in yoga, so as Stacey moves through, you'll get all of it. So, without
that may be something that we need to focus on too, is actually how you breathe. Because a lot of people do not breathe, right? They don't take those deep breaths.
And they just don't breathe.
They shallow. You just do a little shallow breath.
The average person, when we work out, not just when yoga, but when we work out or when we're challenged, the first thing we do is we hold our breath. So we will go over how to breathe. Stacey's shaking her head like this right now. So we will discuss the breath. So I'm glad you brought that up. But other than that, let's fill our way through and get started. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Stacey Patrice.
Woo! Hey. Welcome to Xavia Fox Talks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have you.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself. How'd you get involved in yoga? And tell us about your business, how that fits in.
Whew. How did I get involved in yoga? The interesting part about that question is I have a very cliche answer about how that happened. And honestly, it's probably an answer you've heard before. It's more yoga chose me, found me. I've been involved with dance, gymnastics, weight training, running, a lot of different physical, rigorous activities. However, there was really nothing about those activities that held me for an extended period of time. My brain would flit off and
I love running.
Do something else.
I love running.
Running's good, and actually yoga is a great counter activity for running. So again, yoga keeps coming up in a lot of different ways. So yoga is helpful because it allows you to stretch, it allows you to open, it allows you to strengthen, and those are all things you need in life, not just in other activities. So it's really helpful for that. As well, one of the things that called me to yoga is that right after I stopped weight training, I used to model. And so in modeling, I was actually considered having too much of a, believe it or not, too much of a cut, too much of an athletic build. But it was in comparison, you know, to people that, you know, string bean pole, no tone type of, you know, figure. So I understood that. And so I stopped working out for like 3 years straight. Just stopped.
Wow.
Just stopped. And my diet kind of sustained my weight for a while, but then it was like, okay, I lost some strength. I lost a lot of strength. So I wanted to find something that was going to enable me to come back and get my strength. And then I had a baby. And so then the core strength was just like, a big baby. You know, so core strength just disappeared.
I had a big baby too.
Okay, 10 pounds, yeah. So,
15, yeah.
So all of that, you know, I was getting, I know, right? Like,
yeah.
All of that was helping.
Grab what I was going to, but
I know. I needed that strength to keep up with him.
Yes.
And so for me, I was like, I have to find a way to get back into something that's going to challenge me, that's going to, you know, pull me in and have me do it on a consistent basis, and something that's going to help me shape back up, because now I don't care. I want my little muscles back, and I want to be able to pick him up and, you know, carry him around and run after him. So I started a teacher training. I went into a teacher training, and shout out to Moksha Yoga in Chicago, one of the best. And I went to a teacher training, and I fell in love with Vinyasa Yoga. And Vinyasa Yoga is simply breath synchronized movement. So it's exactly what you just talked about, and coordinating each movement with an individual breath. And so just staying in your body, staying in your mind, staying focused by combining the two of those together and doing an entire practice, which is what we'll be doing today.
Okay. And I think one of the things you want to hear again, an entire practice. So one of the things that sometimes people get in yoga, they begin to do, because you do that in other sports, because most sports are competitive. Yoga is not competitive, at least not externally. That's something you're doing for yourself. So the breath and actually practicing yoga, they're simultaneous. You will not separate one from the other, and it is not a practice. So you will notice it's not everybody's not going to look alike. I apologize.
And what Iris is saying in a more concise term that you can take with you and remember, it is your personal practice.
Here it is.
So if you are doing yoga and you're looking at the way that other people are doing yoga and comparing yourself, you're not really doing yoga, because when you're doing yoga, you're in your breath, you're in your body. Your mind is not chattering around about what other people are doing or how to keep up with the next person. And that's what Iris meant by no competition. It's not external. So your mind body should be within. The two should be conjoined within. And when you start your practice with the breath synchronized movement, you find that the only thing you're paying attention to is your breath.
You know what's interesting?
That's all you're paying attention to is your breath.
It's interesting that you said that without the distractions, because when I was really into my thing and doing yoga regularly, I would do it every morning. I would do it on the beach in the summertime with just the water and the sun.
Yes.
And it was like I could flow so much easier into different positions and the stretches. And now that you said, and like when I'm at the gym sometimes I can't even do, you know, I'm just like wobbling and falling over and stuff. But you know, you got all these distractions at the gym, so I guess it kind of throws your whole mind, body, and spirit thing off.
It does, because some of them are what I call energetic distractions.
Yes.
So other people, what they're thinking, what they're doing, maybe people picking up weights and slamming them down. You know, the smell, the atmosphere.
All of a sudden, some guy's like, oh,
yeah. So those things. You can get to the point where those things, you don't hear them, but realistically those things are distracting. Whereas when you're in nature, you feel one with it.
Yeah,
you flow
and
with
you
it.
should.
And you should.
Yeah.
And I love outdoor yoga for that reason. So.
Oh, I loved it on the beach. That was so cool. Okay.
I started off sitting on our mat. So if everyone can just come down to your mat and come into a comfortable seated position. And a seated position can include a couple of different variations. One of the easiest beginner seated positions is crossing your legs, where your shins are crossed and your legs are at your midline, which means in line with your navel. Your feet are flexed. You pull the feet in toward your seat, keeping the feet flexed, and then you drop the shin over the opposite arch. And so it feels awkward at first, but this is just a way to maintain a comfortable seated position. There are other seated positions. If this is like not working for you somehow, or you feel a little strange, or your hips feel a little tight, you can always take a folded blanket or a bolster and sit it under your seat, so that when you do, your seat comes off the ground and your knees are a little closer to the ground. And you don't want your knees to be up higher than your seat where you feel contracted. So Iris is using a pillow as this example. And if you take this pillow, for instance, and sit it under your seat, it provides comfort to your seat, but then it also allows your knees to come down a bit more because your seat is higher. Okay, so it's just the edge of your seat on this pillow. You're not sitting totally in the middle of the pillow. It's just the edge of your seat, and those sit bones, those bony prominences underneath your seat are in contact with that mat. However, if you feel that you are already at a great height, you don't have to use the height, and you can just sit cross-legged. Another cross-legged position that I really like, that I find to be very, very comfortable, is that I take one leg on an angle and sit in front, and then take the other leg on an angle and tuck the toes in the opposite leg. So this can be comfortable too, but it does depend on how open your hips are.
And our feet are still active.
Yes, and your feet are still active. So this toe pointing that way, this one kind of hitting on the inside. And to be more specific, you can open your legs wider to get more comfortable. It's a very stable position, and a lot of times people find great stability in this position because they don't feel like their hips are up or their knees are up. So whatever makes you feel comfortable. This is my favorite. And then from here, you take your hands to your knees. You can open your hands up to the sky for increased energy and for receiving energy. If you feel tired, you can turn them down just to shut all of that off. You can just turn them down and just relax and feel more grounded. Okay? And so then what we like to do at the beginning of a yoga practice is we like to meditate first, just in order to calm the nervous system, to still the mind. So if you can go ahead and close your eyes. And in this position, closing your eyes, you want to get to the point where you don't hear or pay attention to or respond judgmentally to anything else. Okay? So although this may seem like a futile task, it's very important in yoga to do this because this is the foundation of your practice. Without this meditative quality, you bring everything from the outside into your yoga practice. And so you're kind of like cleansing that off, cleansing that out, and just saying, I just want to sit here and notice the sounds around me.
If you've ever dreamed of becoming an entrepreneur and don't know where to start, The Entrepreneur Within You by Julie Holloway is a must-read. Holloway and 17 co-authors share advice and inspiration that can save you from serious business blunders. So purchase your copy today on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. The Entrepreneur Within You. Empowering, equipping, inspiring.
Notice what's going on in my mind and observe it. Don't follow it, don't answer it, just observe it without judgment. And then also notice what's going on with my body. You may scan your body and see if there's discomfort anywhere, if there's easiness anywhere. There should be easiness in this pose. You want your spine to be tall and elongated while your seat is grounded. You also want your neck to be elongated and the eyes closed and the face soft. No facial expressions here. Just totally face soft. You can bring consciousness into rolling the shoulder blades down the back. This is a great time to do that. This helps to open your heart, which we'll talk about soon. But rolling the shoulder blades down the back keeps your torso long. You can think of yourself as an antenna, as a signal, and picking up whatever energy you need, whatever clarity you need as part of your practice. And this can be done for about 5 to 7 minutes at the beginning of your practice. Longer if you are experienced with meditation. And this is just to clear the mind.
Just to say that meditation is not something you step into immediately either. It's also a practice. So know that if that 5 to 7 seems long starting out, do the best that you can, but commit to whatever time that you do. So that means that when you get started, you set a timer and see how long you can go and look at it, or set the timer for 3 to 5 minutes, then do that. Because the point is to get you to begin to be able to clear your mind and be in tune with your body.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so you may even find that in the beginning, as you're meditating, you are really grasping to your thoughts or paying attention to your thoughts. And then over time, you want to see yourself begin to release paying attention to, grabbing, and judging those thoughts. They're going to come up. We have minds for that very reason, so thoughts will come up. But as you learn to release paying all of your attention and giving your energy to those thoughts, you'll find yourself being able to stay in meditation a bit longer. Okay? All right, so after that point, we begin by warming up the spine. The spine is the central location where everything happens in your body, as well as where everything is based off of in your practice. In order to have symmetry in your limbs, it's all connected to your spine. In order to activate your muscles, in order to activate your breath energy, all of this is related to your spine and your nervous system. So when you are warming up the spine, you are actually allowing communication to flow through your entire body and not cut off the flow from your head to your body or from your limbs to your body. You're allowing it to flow freely throughout all of your nervous system, throughout all of your muscles, your tissues, your organs, and allowing this to be a complete and total practice for your health. So this is super important. So to warm the spine, we generally take the spine in a couple of different directions. We like to bend the spine forward, bend the spine backwards, and side to side. So starting off, in your seated position, you can start by taking the arms up overhead and just raising the arms up, breathing naturally. We'll go into a different breath when we go into a sequence. But just start by raising the arms overhead. And then slowly on an exhale, begin to bend forward. Now this is important. Only bend as far forward as your pelvis bends. Okay? So even if you want to do this, my pelvis is not going forward. So we're paying attention to our pelvis. If it's not tipping forward, you don't go any further forward. So here, and then on the inhale, come back up. And then take the hands behind you and open your chest toward the sky. You're totally rolling the shoulders back, extending the torso upward, but opening the chest. And if it's easy, you can keep your fingers on fingertip so that you can elongate the torso. If your shoulders aren't very open, bring the hands closer to you, but just extend the torso upward and keep the chest open towards the wall that's in front of you.
On fingertips?
On the fingertips, yes. So Iris is showing, we call this a bird cage. So this fingertip is allowing you to have contact with the floor and stay grounded without having any strain on your wrist or feeling any contraction in the torso. So this is important to stay on fingertip base, Iris. So here you're just opening the chest. And then coming out of this position back into an inhale, take your arms up overhead. Stretching up, fingers wide, fingers pointing up towards the ceiling. And then slowly take a twist to your right or left. Just twisting the spine to the side. And then back to center. And then slowly twisting the spine to the opposite side. And then back to center. Now this can be done as a rhythmic string of poses. So you can continue doing the sequence, starting off with the arms up and then exhaling, bending forward as we did the first time. Inhaling back up to center and then exhaling, taking the arms behind you and opening the chest. And then inhaling up to center and turning to one side on the exhale. And then inhaling back to center and turning to the opposite side on the next exhale. Now, how many times you need to do this will be up to you based on what your breath movement is doing. So if your breaths are shorter, you may need to do this for a bit of longer time just to make sure that you are enabling yourself to calm down and keep the movements synchronized with your breath. If you find that your breaths are longer, this might be a quite slower practice. But just making sure that you are linking your breath to movement. Even while I'm talking, you'll hear pauses usually where I'm exhaling and a pause before I inhale. And we can bring our hands back down to our knees for this. So repeat that as many times as necessary until you start to feel the spine warming up, you start to feel the torso getting a little more flexible. Maybe you'll notice that when you go to one side, you're turning a bit more on one side, or you're feeling more comfortable in your turns, and that you feel your heart really opening. So we discussed earlier about breathing techniques and about heart openers, and I think this would be a great time to insert those two qualities here. So starting off, heart openers are really important because part of our practice and part of our daily lives meet at this intersection. If we talk about who we are in the world, what happens to us on a daily basis, a lot of times there's a lot of contracting, a lot of shutting down. Okay, and so this is signified by how open your heart is. People say this person is really open-hearted. There is a direct energetic connection to that statement. So if you find that maybe you've been through trauma, or maybe there are things that happen to you that have you a bit more insecure, or your self-esteem is lower, or even perhaps you're just nervous or fearful, this is connecting to your heart center. And your heart center, it kind of tends to hide, it kind of tends to, dip off in your body somewhere. And this is usually signified by your shoulders. So two things have to happen in order to have an open heart. You have to release the shoulders back, which opens the collarbones, and then also there's an energy that's opening the heart forward. Okay, so a lot of people have problems in the shoulder area, shoulder blades, upper shoulder, anything going on in this particular area of the body that's surrounding the heart, there's usually a contraction or closing down. In yoga, we want to open that up. And the whole purpose of opening that up is so that you can have a life free of attachment to those things that cause you pain. Okay, so that opening up of the heart is really a great energy and allows everything that you're about to shine through. So you definitely want to always consider your heart in all of your poses. Is your heart open? Are you closing your heart? Your spine can still be long and you can still be closing your heart. So you want to definitely pay attention to that throughout the practice.
That was good stuff.
Yeah.
That was good. That was deep.
It is deep, and it's something that I think a lot of people become nervous about, because their next question is, well, that's not safe to walk around with my heart open like that. I want to make sure I'm protected. Yeah. But then you have to ask yourself what you're protecting yourself from. So this
a lot of people walk around protecting themselves.
Well, part of it is we live in a state of fear all the time. We don't like to call it fear, but our inability to connect with one another on the street, simply making eye contact, saying hi to one another. Something as simple as taking an extra step in your relationships, whether it's your daughter, whether it's your husband, whether it's your friend. We would rather communicate via Facebook or text. Fear, we have allowed ourselves to be held hostage by fear. And it really is what is happening. So instead of living with an open heart, being open and ready to receive, we're in a negative state. Our energy is negative, hence what's going on in our world right now. We need to be open. So we are in a state of fear, so now we're going to move through some poses that open this heart.
Absolutely.
But anyway, you love me. I do. We got cute pictures together.